Hello friends, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been in before. I'm Jamie and I'm a 31-year-old cash budgeter. I want to do a little bit of a face-to-face catch-up. So I want to do a money update. It's not particularly for the past month, but I have a few things that I am doing differently coming back to cash stuffing this time. So I hope that you find this enlightening. I hope you find it inspiring. Grab a drink and let's chat. So I'm just wanting to go through a few pointers and kind of discoveries that I made this time around. I've been cash stuffing now for a year and a half, but I recently had quite a significant break away from cash stuffing, away from using cash, and it was a big mistake. I can say that right off the bat. And I've done that a couple of times, but I always find my way back. It is the one thing that works. So glad to see you. I'm wanting to do more face-to-face chats, monthly updates, some budgets with me. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Got my planner here and I've written down a few things as I was kind of reflecting on the past month. What I am going to do is talk to you about them. So I've got 9 changes that I've made to my kind of budget and cash budgeting this time around, and I want to talk you through those. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is that I'm going to be stuffing 5-week cycles until my budget runs calendar monthly. So what that means is that it currently doesn't run calendar monthly, and that is the one thing that has always thrown me off. I get my main income on the 19th every month. My bills come out on the 1st, around the 1st. Most of my bulk of my bills, my fixed expenses, my rent, my utilities, phone bill, all of that good stuff. So there is a 11-day delay, sometimes more, depending on if it falls on a weekend. And that is a long time to go, but also it's not enough time to stuff a full month for each bill. So I had to stuff a lot higher for the first 2 weeks to make that bill cycle, and then barely anything after that. So it would be easier if I could stuff the same amount every single week, and that would be great. And it usually happens if you are 1 month ahead, or if potentially your budget do then run calendar monthly. It can make so much more sense for a budget. At least my brain works like that. I think calendar monthly, everything else is calendar monthly, so I feel like my budgeting should be too. And when it's not, I really struggle with dates. You know, it's kind of in the mid-month. Even though I do get my money, I do sometimes forget exactly what week we're on, what cycle we're on, and it gets a little bit more difficult. What I am doing is stuffing 5-week months, so a little bit less over 5 weeks. So every single month I will have a couple of extra days in my budget that will run me closer to the 1st. For example, I get my money in the 19th and I'll do 5 weeks, and it will take me around like the 23rd of the next month when my budget starts again. I will quarantine that money from the 19th till the 23rd, and I'll do 5 weeks. It'll take me like to the 28th of that following month. I hope that makes sense. So the goal is then by December, I will actually have caught up, and I will be able to land on the 2nd of December when I start my new budget, and I will be able to do 4 weeks, and they will end on the 31st of December. So I feel like that's great for the new year alone. That just feels really lucky to me, but it's good to do that ahead and kind of work out where you are at. So I'm going to be stuffing 5 weeks every single month until December, which is when I can finally do a calendar monthly. I hope that makes sense, because sometimes people ask me, like, how do you do a budget when you don't run your budget calendar monthly, or if you get paid once in the middle of the month, etc. And I hope that this will really help you if you are doing the same with your budget. So the next thing has to do with my main goals, but also realistic priorities in life, and that is overstuffing my bills. Now, my key goal is to build my emergency fund. My emergency fund is going to be £1,000. I've done this a few times before. When I jumped into cash budgeting this time around, it was completely from scratch. I had debt. I still have debt. I have no savings. I have no emergency fund. And of course, like I said, I'm not ahead with my bills at all. I'm not behind, but I'm not ahead. So it's really hard to just jump in when you don't have any cushions. Like, I didn't even have £5 saved this time around. I've spent it all overall over the past few months. So this time around, building my emergency fund is the priority in terms of savings and in terms of current goals, because once I've got that out of the way, I can put more towards debt and other kind of savings goals. However, I don't really want to have to touch that emergency fund, and going into winter and bills increasing, we're going to be home a lot more, electric will go up, gas will go up, we don't have the lights on ever currently. It makes a big difference. I've started overstuffing my bills every single week, and it's really adding up. I've also, of course, minimized my bills again. I did have quite a few subscriptions that has racked up over the past few months that I went ahead and cancelled and brought a little bit more cash flow into my budget. But for this particular reason alone, overstuffing a little bit extra, I will be building my emergency fund, but I will also be getting a month ahead at the same time. I don't see it as a particular goal. I just have extra money there. That is something as small as stuffing an extra £5 into my bills in the month here and there, an extra £10 in my bills. When it gets to the end of the month, I only end up taking out the money from my binders that is going to go back to the bank, and then I'll still have a little bit of cushion, whether that's £5, £10, and over the weeks it adds up to quite a bit more. My low bills, like my broadband, that's £15 because I went ahead and downgraded that, and that's okay. I ended up being a month ahead on, but that's one bill already ticked off, being 1 month ahead, and everything else is slowly building up. You could snowball your bills that way too, which could be an amazing thing. So once you built up a month ahead on your smallest bill, like something like a £15 bill, then start putting that extra £5 towards the next smallest bill. There might be 30, and you're gonna see that ball rolling, but you're not taking away too much from your actual savings either, but it is moving in the right direction. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that gets you excited if you're kind of thinking about what you're going to be doing or how you can build things at the same time without really affecting things too much in terms of the emergency fund. Because when you're putting everything towards that, it can be really disheartening if little other things come up, but small amounts can just provide so much more peace, so much more security, knowing that you have something extra somewhere else. So next thing I'm doing is running my weeks from Sunday to Saturday. So I always try to run them Monday to Sunday, and I usually found that that wasn't quite working for me, and it could change. I've had twice now where my bills had to go back to the bank, and I cashed off even earlier, like on a Thursday or a Friday. So that was a little bit harder, but that will happen. I'm just trying to be intuitive and go with the flow, but I'm really thinking about what works for me, and cash stuffing on a Sunday or Saturday evening is actually the easiest for me to get it done, to reach my goal of actually cash stuffing consistently and be cash budgeting. So if you're finding that you really struggle to find the time to cash stuff, look at your days, because it might be your most difficult days that you're sitting down to do it on days where you actually don't feel like you have the time, or you have other commitments that are taking up the brain power from you doing something so important as managing your finances. Another thing that I was doing pretty heavily in the beginning of cash stuffing this time around for the first few weeks, but it's gradually becoming less and less, tracking my expenses daily in my planner. So I was very diligent about tracking them daily, writing everything down to build that kind of cash mindset that I know that I need when I'm cash budgeting, and that is the exact mindset that I have been out of. And that mindset still could be really good to have even when you're not cash budgeting. I also mentioned that when I started cash budgeting again, I wasn't spending in cash. I was cash budgeting, but I wasn't spending the cash, because again, my cash kind of mindset wasn't quite there, and that is okay. Tracking your expenses daily, no matter what you're spending it on, whether that is cash, your checkings account, your credit card, really will help to kind of get into the cash mindset and knowing what you are actually spending day to day, week to week, month to month. Over the past few weeks, I started off still using my credit card as a crutch. Sounds quite bad to say, but I'm just wanting to be real and honest and very realistic here. That is what I was using. I was using my credit card as a crutch, but being very diligent about it and tracking my expenses and writing it down down every day, it actually still made sure that I didn't overspend. I still stuck to my budget. I did what I spent and I did how much I had left in each and every category. So I knew that going out the next day, hey, I only have £2 left in coffee. Even though I have my credit card in my hand, that is all I have to spend here. And it really worked. It might not work for you, but it also might. I'm not saying you should try it. You know yourself best. And yes, there were 1 or 2 weeks when I spent a little bit more on something when I were out. I had my credit card on me, but I then knew that I had like £10 in my buffer envelope that I was then going to be putting towards my credit card when I got home. Having the amounts and knowing what you're spending and knowing what you have left in your head every single day is only going to be the case if you are tracking your expenses every single day and looking at the numbers and seeing what you have left in your categories. I hope that makes sense. But if you're not doing that, don't blame yourself for not knowing, because you're not going to know unless you are actively putting a plan into place to know the money that you have available to you. Focusing on my sinking funds and my savings/debt, and I'm snowballing small funds. Currently, I am not going in and stuffing every single category. I've made a conscious decision to look ahead for the next 6 months or so, perhaps even like a quick glance on the next 12 months. What are the most urgent things that we actually have to be spending money on? We don't have to, but like that we will honestly be spending money on. Christmas is one of them. Then I have garden, and I think they are the only 2 main ones that in terms of sinking funds. The kids are still getting something. I'm doing my buffer for this extra living currently. I am disregarding all other items. When I do reach my main savings goals for Christmas, I will be taking that money out and snowballing it onto my next important priority, snowballing my small funds. Instead of trying to stuff a little bit into everything, which has worked before because I don't tend to have huge spendings on a lot of things, but I do find that currently I'm curbing my spending a lot day to day. I made sure we don't have too many events and too many other things coming up. But yes, I'm focused on my sinking funds and my savings and my debt as priorities that are actually essential in this season and over the next few months. And once I reach a goal on one, I will be taking that money and putting it into the next biggest priority. The 7th thing that I'm doing is going into the second thing I mentioned, which is like focusing on my emergency fund, but also my bills. And I did go into this more in depth in that second point, but it's actually the point of its own, and that is that I'm doing snowball on my bills as well, which I did mention, but it was supposed to just be for my emergency fund, that number 2, but I got a bit carried away. So I am of course doing the same with my bills. I am snowballing them from the smallest to the largest. Not entirely, I'm putting something into everything, but once I'm finished with the smallest one, that will be going towards a bigger one, but extra £5 at least every other week towards every single bill. And then once the smallest one is reached, that will go towards the next smallest one, which will then be the smallest one. I got so excited about the £15 broadband bill that I mentioned. Like, that genuinely gave me so much joy and I felt so motivated. And it might seem so small, but that's a bill that I'm a month ahead of. It don't matter the size, it is worth celebrating. Number 8 is that I went back and forth about savings challenges. Now, I wanted to do manageable savings challenges. I'm wanting to do savings challenges for motivation because it's quite frankly a lot of fun, but I have always made them too unmanageable, and this time the goal is to have manageable savings challenges. Now, I've been working a few and I'll probably show you those in a few cash things coming up. But something as simple as the penny challenge is something that I want to be doing, because even though I could put it towards my emergency fund, it is getting me into the habit of actually taking any coins at the end of the week and putting them to the side instead of kind of spending them and losing them and thinking, oh, I got £2 here, we can get the extra lollipop or whatever. I'm physically removing them at the end of the week from my purse, and I'm going to do a manageable savings challenge or a few that are very in line with my goals. So this is about being intentional with my saving challenges, not just doing them for the sake of doing them. I love watching other people do savings challenges. Like, it is so much fun and it is just so motivating to just watch them tick things off. And I've tried to do that, and then I realized that actually my budget doesn't allow for the ones that I love watching, and that is okay. So I'm going to again make them more manageable, make them to do with my personal goals, and that is going to be a good driving motivation and a bit of fun at the same time. Number 9 goes with my fourth point, which was my credit card spending. So I'm kind of moving out from this now. I'm getting that kind of cash mindset and cash budgeting muscle all trained up, you guys. Not my physical ones like I keep saying, but my cash budgeting ones, my budgeting muscle is getting there. Point number 4, I did mention about my credit card, and this is about rounding up. So I'm not rounding up my credit card spending, but I'm rounding up what I'm putting on my credit card. So if it gets to the end of the week and I've spent $18.99 on my credit card, this is easier because I only budget in notes as well, guys. I put £20 towards my credit card. That is the spending that I've done for the week, which is again great when you are tracking, because it keeps me accountable daily to how much I have left in each category. That even though I'm spending on my credit card, I am wanting to overpay that credit card, even if it's by like a few pennies. That is what I'm wanting to do, and it helps to kind of bring down that balance again without taking much of a hit on your overall budget. And if after I have paid the spending I've done on my credit card back with the cash from the week and I've rounded it up and I still have money left that I haven't spent. Okay, I said I'm gonna do 9, but I am gonna do 10 because it goes hand in hand with this process. So by the end of the week, I take my coins out of my purse and I put them towards my pennies challenge. I get my cash out because I've been tracking daily. I know what I have, and I know that I have enough to cover the money spent on my credit card. I will take that, I will round it up to the nearest £5. So if I spend $18.99, I will do 20, and I will put that in my debt envelope to go back to the bank to go specifically onto my credit card to cover my spending and a few extra pennies. And then any money that I have left from the week will go towards either my emergency fund, my highest priority, or it will go potentially to my buffer if it is getting slightly depleted, to again help for the week, nothing else. That is it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment below. It really helps to support my channel. I'm so happy to be back and chat to you all. I have to get used to these like face-to-face on this channel again. It feels a little bit different when I do them, but again, I'm so happy to be doing these videos again, and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what other type of videos you'd like to see next, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have an amazing, blessed and wonderful week, and I will see you soon. Bye.